For 10 years, every team in Formula One wanted what Red Bull just got. The FIA looked at the new engines, ran the numbers, and called the Red Bull power unit the strongest fuel-burning engine on the grid. The benchmark, number one, and Red Bull's answer? They're fighting it. They want the FIA to take it back because what nobody outside the paddock understood is that being called the best just cost them the one thing they need most. And now Laurent Mekies is telling the FIA to its face that the ruling is wrong. So, why is a team that builds racing engines for a living standing in the Barcelona paddock arguing that its engine is not as good as the sports bosses say it is? Because once you see what that ranking actually unlocks, you see why Red Bull is treating a gold star like a prison sentence. What happened? On the Sunday of the Monaco Grand Prix, the 7th of June, the FIA sent a private letter to the 5 engine makers in Formula One. That letter was the first result from a new system written into the 2026 rules, a system with one of the most boring names in the sport: additional development and upgrade opportunities. Everyone just calls it ADUO, and the job of ADUO is simple. It looks at every maker's engine, measures how they stack up against each other, and decides who is allowed to spend more to catch up. The idea is to pull everyone closer together. The FIA does not want a repeat of what happened the last time the engines changed. When the hybrids arrived in 2014, Mercedes showed up with an engine so far ahead of everyone else that they won 8 team titles in a row. The FIA spent years trying to claw the lead back and mostly failed. So this time they built a tool to stop any single maker from running away with it before the season even settles. Fall behind and ADUO hands you extra help to close the gap. So the FIA ran its first check covering the opening races of the season, and the result landed like a bombshell inside those 5 engine shops. The strongest fuel-burning engine in Formula One, the benchmark that everyone else gets measured against, was the Red Bull 4. Now stop and think about how strange that is. This is Red Bull's first year ever building its own engine. For their entire history, they bought their power units from other people. Renault, then Honda. The factory in Milton Keynes is brand new. The team up with Ford only got announced a few years ago. Ford's first proper return to Formula One since 2004. First try in-house against Mercedes, who have been doing this for decades, against Ferrari, against Audi and Honda. And the FIA's data says Red Bull built the best one. That should be the proudest moment in the company's history. Instead, within days, they were trying to get the ruling thrown out. Here is the part that makes it make sense. Under ADUO, finishing first is the one place you do not want to be, because the whole system is built to help the teams that are behind. If you are judged to be 2 to 4% off the benchmark, you get one extra engine upgrade you would not normally be allowed, plus extra money inside the spending cap, plus extra hours on the test bench to develop. If you're more than 4% behind, you get 2 upgrades, even more budget, even more bench time. The further back you are, the more help you get. And the benchmark, the team at the very top, they get nothing at all. No extra upgrade, no extra budget, no extra hours on the bench. You built the best engine. So the rules now say you have to sit still while everyone else is handed the tools to come and get you. So look at what the FIA's ruling actually did. Mercedes was judged to be the closest chaser, between 2 and 4% back, which means they pick up 1 approved upgrade, an extra $3 million of room inside their engine spending cap, and around 70 extra hours of bench testing. Ferrari, Audi, and Honda were all called more than 4% back, which means they each get 2 upgrades, 2 cracks at making their engine better this year that Red Bull is not allowed to take. Red Bull gets to watch. That is the prize for coming first. And the numbers under this are not small. The help grows with how far back you are in a sliding ladder. The closest chasers get around $3 million of extra room and about 70 bench hours. Slip further and it climbs to 4, then 6, then $8 million, with bench hours rising to 100, then 150, then nearly 200. And the FIA even added a bottom rung for anyone more than 10% back, worth around $11 million and more than 200 extra hours. A step built mostly to make sure a maker like Honda was not left stranded. So, this is not a small favor. This is real money and real building time handed to everyone except the team at the top. There is even a catch in how that top was decided. The opening check window was meant to run across 6 races. Then 2 of them, Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, were canceled. Audi has arrived as a full works maker. Honda has split from Red Bull and gone to Aston Martin. Renault shut its own engine program down entirely and put Mercedes power in the back of its cars. A brand new 11th team, Cadillac, has joined the grid running Ferrari engines. Almost every link on the grid has been torn up and rebuilt in the space of one winter. So when the FIA's first try at measuring all of that gives a result the supposed winner refuses to accept, it is not a tiny filing fight. It is the first real test of whether this whole new world actually works. And whatever happens with this one ruling, the ground is about to shift again. Anyway, the FIA has already confirmed the engines are changing across the next 2 seasons. The balance between the fuel-burning engine and the electrical side, which sits at roughly half and half this year, leans toward the fuel-burning engine in 2027, then further again in 2028. Fuel flow goes up, the fuel-burning engine gets more power. The electrical push comes down, the 2027 shift that could flip it all, which means the exact thing ADUO measures, raw engine power, is about to matter even more than it does today. If Red Bull really does have the strongest fuel-burning engine, the rules of 2027 and 2028 could swing right into their strength. If the FIA's data is wrong, that same shift could show it. Either way, this fight over one ranking is a taste of a much bigger battle coming down the road. And the rivals are not waiting around to find out. Ferrari has already signaled it will pour its ADUO tokens into a better fuel-burning engine, with Lewis Hamilton calling it an 8 to 10-month job. Audi has admitted its car simply lacks power and says it will use the help for the medium and long term. Honda is chasing engine power and friction gains before the summer break for Aston Martin. Everybody Red Bull is supposedly ahead of is busy spending the help they were given to come and prove the ranking right, while Red Bull is locked out of the same toolbox, heading into Austria with nothing settled. So where does that leave us? Right now, today, nothing is settled. The FIA has agreed to look at its data again, but has not publicly confirmed a result, has not reversed anything, and has not closed the case. Red Bull has thrown its top brass at the president of the sport and is still insisting through Mekies that not one race this season backs the idea that they are ahead. The rivals are banking their upgrades, and the whole argument is about to roll into the one place that makes it even more charged: the Austrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring, the team's home track, the track they own. A team told it built the best engine in Formula One, arriving at its own home race, fighting to prove that it didn't. That is where this stands. Not settled, not close to settled, just heating up with the two sides further apart than when it started. And the sports boss is now forced to defend the first ruling their brand new system ever produced. And the stakes stretch well beyond a few upgrade tokens. Whatever the FIA decides here sets the tone for the next 5 years of this rule, because ADUO runs all the way to the end of the decade. If the sports bosses fold the moment their biggest team pushes back, the whole system loses its bite. If they hold firm against Red Bull at the height of their anger, it tells every other maker that the numbers are the numbers, and there is no talking your way out of them. So this is not really about one ranking from one shortened slice of races. It is about who actually controls the engine rules in modern Formula One. The engineers with the sensors, or the team with the most to lose. The engine war everyone expected in 2026 is here. It just showed up from the last direction anyone predicted, with the supposed winner shouting the loudest that it is losing. And this story is nowhere near over.